but you don't. Ever. And this is where step 3 comes in, okay? The loan is structured for flexibility, not payoff. And there are 2 ways that loans work. Most people get income-backed loans. So the bank lends against your paycheck, so you are forced to pay back principal every month. In other words, you pay what you borrowed plus interest every month until everything is paid off completely, and there's no other way around it. The wealthy get asset-backed loans. The bank lends against what they already own. And when the loan is backed by assets, it's often structured so you only need to pay back the interest. Yes, just the interest. You heard that right. So here's how that works, simplified. Imagine you own real estate, stocks, and land worth $50 million combined. You walk into a private bank and ask for an asset-backed loan with the intent to live off that liquidity. Why would you do that? Well, because loans are not income and therefore not taxable. The bank agrees to lend you $10 million for 10 years at 3% interest. That's a 20% loan-to-value ratio. For a private bank, anything in the 10 to 25% range is considered ultra-safe. You sign the papers and $10 million is wired into your account. That money is not taxed. It's borrowed, not earned. Your only mandatory payment is the interest, $300,000 per year. On paper, the loan matures in 10 years, and we'll get to what happens then. But in the meantime, you decide how fast to use that money. You might pace yourself and treat it like $700,000 a year in spending power for a decade, and that pacing is your choice. But fast forward 10 years. You've paid the bank $3 million in interest. The principal is still $10 million. So what happens next? Well, you've got many options, but 2 of them are the most common. Option 1, you refinance. You take a new $10 million loan to close the original one and continue paying interest. Why would you do that? Well, because the alternative is selling assets. To raise $10 million net, you might need to sell $20 million worth of assets, trigger millions in taxes, and permanently give up your future upside. I pay $8 million in taxes today when you could pay $300,000 for a year and let inflation reduce the real burden over time. Option 2 is you refinance and expand. So over the course of those 10 years, your assets may have grown. If that $50 million portfolio is now worth $100 million, the bank could lend you $20 million at the same 20% loan-to-value ratio. The old loan is closed, you get additional liquidity, and the process repeats. This is the option that most wealthy borrowers choose.
You can see it all here is Ancoats.
Now we're hearing you ask, what if the assets don't grow? And here's the reality, okay? These loans are backed by productive, diversified assets. Real estate, businesses, land, and broad stock markets. Not by Pokemon cards and limited edition Jordans, all right? Historically, across long time horizons, these assets grow. And even when they fluctuate, the low loan-to-value ratio provides a massive buffer. That's why you borrowed a small fraction compared to what you already own in assets. And this is why asset-backed loan failures are rare at the individual level. When they do happen, they're usually a part of global leverage events, and they make international news. Banks aren't stupid, okay? They monitor collateral continuously and adjust long before things break. That's the entire point of borrowing conservatively. And this is how the rich live off loans. And then comes the final step, literally. The borrower dies. You borrowed money your whole life, and now it's time to find out which religion was right. What happens to your loans and your assets? Well, first off, let's talk assets. As long as you didn't sell them while you were alive, the tax system treats them as unrealized gains. And at death, something pretty remarkable happens. The value of those assets resets.
Oh yes, Ancoats.
And it's worth $10 million when you die. The tax system now pretends it was always worth $10 million. In other words, say you bought stocks 50 years ago for $1 million, and they're now worth $10 million. If you were to sell them right before you died, you would have to pay taxes on $9 million in profit. But if you don't sell them and they get inherited by your family, and they sell them after you die, they don't have to pay anything in taxes because no profit was made. $10 million was inherited
every street is just after this big brown building. That's every street. All these places Ancoats. This is a place they call Ancoats. So that's the white building on your right, white tall sky, which is called Lonando Hotels. So this building, this white building, is Lonando Hotel. This road leads to that road leads to train station. So every street is just is Ancoats. Where the traffic light is, that's where every street is.
So there's a manufacturing. How do you create manufacturing in the United States? And so there's some merit to all of those arguments. The question is whether that is done really well and so on. For the whole world, tariffs, of course, are not the ideal. You would like to have, if you're getting what's best for the whole world, you would like to have the least efficient and inefficiency. And so wherever they produce it the best, and we have a real benefit go around. But we're in a world now that we have to be realistic in terms of we cannot be dependent on importing a lot of things, and nor can the world be dependent on the value of the bonds and the debt that we're acquiring in order to pay for these.
Well, the big beautiful bill that's now being talked about, we're going to solve our problem, mitigate it, or
It's not resolved.
okay.
So this is every street. I'm entering now. Every street. It's every street. And this brown building is the penthouse. This is the penthouse, this one.
We're going to be paying off this debt in
This
detail.
building is the penthouse.
Okay. What about cutting interest rates? Why doesn't the chairman of the Fed say, well,
That's the
cutting interest rates
penthouse.
to save us money, we're spending $1 trillion now on interest for our own debt. Why don't we just lower the interest rate? Why don't we just do that?
There's the real interest rate now. One man's debts or another man's assets.
This is the penthouse.
If I owe
It's how it is.
I reduce my desire to hold that bond. And in my opinion,
So the penthouse is the black thing on top.
those bonds,
The black crown on top there, that's the penthouse.
if you do create something closer to 4% cut and a 4% increase in tax revenue with the balance, then you'll have a benefit. If you try to force interest rates down, you are hurting those who are holding the bonds, and you'll lose the demand for the bonds, and you get the reinvestment.
Finish this discussion.
And from here to Co-op Life, this is where we are going now. So Co-op is just down this road.
Should I go buy gold? Should I go buy dollars, buy euros? What should I do?
The safest investment you can get right now is in inflation.
to your left. You see that? That building over there is the Co-op Event Center. The next turning on your left, that's the Co-op Event Center and also the Manchester City Stadium. You can see it on the left there. Yeah, so that's the stadium. Yeah. So that's the Co-op Event Center. You can see there's so many taxis and everything stopping there. So this is the Co-op Event Center. That's how close it is to Co-op. This is Co-op Event Center and also this is Etihad Stadium, Manchester City Stadium. You see, they're dropping cars and see people coming out. So I'm just gonna try and turn the car there.
creates a dynamic in and of itself, because what happens is if they are switching
That's it.
then that has the effect of supply demand.
It used to be the case that the U.S. dollar was backed by gold, and U.S. government said, if you don't like these pieces of paper, we'll give you gold. And ultimately, we ended up never going to go back to
That's it. Go back home now.
the beginning of this year. The dollar against the basket of currencies is down about 2%. Many people worry that they might continue that rate and devalue. Some people say it's not a bad thing.
So all these areas, all Manchester City Center.
Some experts are worried about the dollar. Now, what do you suggest to do? This is things that's dollar denominated.
Just gonna pass through front of the apartment again.
I remember working on the floor of
You can easily walk from the apartment to the event center and walk back. That's how close. The apartment is this brown building. This place that looks like cathedral, so yeah. It's right in front of it. That's the apartment. So this is the apartment. Yeah, this building. This one, this is the apartment. This building. This brown building. Yeah, all Ancoats. Or Great Ancoats.
Legally, officially,
Russell, whatever show that you're talking about, where they are showing is this is the opera house there where you have that light, advertising light down there. Russell Howard show. And when you hear of O2 Apollo, O2 Apollo is just where that, if you look at the top there. Sure, let me go to that O2 Apollo for you. Show you where the O2 Apollo is from the apartment. So from the apartment, we just left the apartment now, down there. We're just gonna take you to where the O2 Apollo is. That's where all these cars are getting to now. O2 Apollo. These are all city center. That's O2 Apollo. See that white building on your right? See the white building on your right? This white building. White building on your left. That white building. That's O2 Apollo. Yeah, that's O2 Apollo. This one. This is O2 Apollo. You can see it there. This is O2 Apollo. It's gonna turn on the side. All of this is O2 Apollo. This whole view is O2 Apollo. It's gonna turn. Start going. This white building is O2 Apollo. O2 Apollo. I say reach. You can see it there. It says O2 Apollo. See that? O2 Apollo. Sorry, that's where you reach. Nothing special about it. Close to the apartment as well. They're all in city center.
still make up around $4,000 from my dad in order to pay for family bills. And this was painful. And then it changed my approach to everything. Two ways. First, it made me, well, what do I know? It made me
This is, yeah, so the other side of city center, but it's still city center. Where O2 Arena is, huh? I was coming from, that's where Rosham is. That area. Rosham Road, that's where Rosham Road is. So now these roads lead straight to Southford. See, there's Southford I talk. That tram is the tram from Suffolk Keys. It takes you around the town to from where this skyscraper is now. From that point down to his side, it's all Southwood now. We've left Manchester. Where this skyscraper is. See the apartment there.
They say to me, Ray Dalio.
From here down, Southwood.
So many people today, it has just be I'm show you how to fix it very quickly. Because the real big problem is not the peeing at night. It's what it does to your sleep. It literally will destroy your sleep. And with poor sleep, it gives you a cascade of a lot of other problems, including affecting your metabolism. Very easy to lose weight. It will raise your cortisol if you're not sleeping. It will put you at risk for type 2 diabetes. It will give you something called insulin resistance, which creates a lot of other issues related to blood sugar. It will increase your risk of high blood pressure, make your body more stiff, give you more visceral fat because of the cortisol. It'll keep you in a hunger mode, wanting to snack through the day. Also, not sleeping affects your ability to detoxify your brain. That's why you wake up with brain fog. I had that really bad. Your mood goes down, anxiety, depression, your cognitive function, focus, memory, concentration, all are affected if you're not sleeping. Not to mention low testosterone, and of course you're tired all day long because you're not sleeping. There are cultures where there's people that live well into their 80s, even 90s, and they sleep through the time. They're not getting out at all. Yet in certain countries, especially in the US, 1 in 5 men and 1 in 4 women get up at least once or twice to urinate every single night, which is crazy. So aging is not the problem. There's several other things that I'm going to show you that are the problem. So the first thing you need to know is there's a hormone involved. Maybe you've heard about this hormone, and I'm not going to get into it too deep, but it's called the anti-diuretic hormone. Now think about what that means. Anti-diuretic means anti-urinating excessively, especially at night. So this hormone is super important in the prevention of
there's a problem with this hormone. You're going to make more urine, especially at night. The first thing that will affect it is having an imbalance of too much salt and not enough potassium. This is very common. So right there, that's going to affect the kidneys. It's going to create a problem. Your body's going to want to get rid of this excess salt, so it's going to cause more urine to be produced. And just so you know, avocados have a lot of potassium, leafy greens, bigger salads have a lot of potassium. Next one is blood sugar, which if you're diabetic, you know that you pee through the night because if there's too much sugar in your blood, the body will get rid of it. And so as it goes through the kidney and the bladder, it's going to pull water with it. Typically, if you have an imbalance of salt, potassium, this is why I recommend having most of your protein as your first meal, maybe at lunch, and having a small amount of protein for dinner if you're getting up or having a problem sleeping. But the biggest trigger for throwing off this hormone is this right here. Boy, if you want to get healthy, just drink alcohol before bed. That's one of the biggest triggers. When's the worst time to drink fluids? Well, the answer to that is later at night. Anytime before 3 hours if you go to bed is a very bad idea. A lot of people, including me, are not thirsty in the first part of the day. They're not thirsty in the evening.
So heading to Southport is key now, yeah?
At night. Tell everyone that this is not dehydration. It's a sort of mechanism to cause you to have enough fluid because you need probably for the next 12 hours. What's worse than that is snacking on
You see at the top there, it says Southport Keys. Southport Keys, yeah?
Because also the sugar in the starch, the potassium even more. It's not just what you drink, it's what you're eating. Now think about this, your kidneys filter by 170 liters of fluid all day long, okay? They're filtering all this liquid, but only getting rid of between 1.5 and 2 liters of fluid. So now let's talk about how to turn this around. I've already covered all these things, but let's just go through the list. Avoid. Okay, right there.
From this traffic light,
Change.
if I divert to your right now, everything you see on this traffic light, Southport Keys.
Now, fluids, 3 hours before bed. So I get a lot of fluid in the first part of the day and also up until
From
dinner.
everything here, from here down to the end of this road, Southport Keys.
Right before bed, you don't want to consume any
So if you see that brown building
because it's going to create
from a front behind the tree,
things you can do.
a brown building behind the tree. It's a skyscraper behind it. That's Michigan Point.
If you have too much sodium and potassium, this is very common. The kidneys will not respond to that hormone like they should anymore. And so, one thing that I recommend is start increasing higher potassium foods, avocados, or you can take a high potassium electrolyte in the early part of the day, not at night. So this is one more thing that I've been successful with helping with this problem. Also, just helping people study.
Michigan Point. This is Michigan Point.
Coffee.
See that building there on your right? Yeah?
Cut down the caffeine because it's diuretic.
See the tall building on your right that has got white line on top, yeah? That's Michigan Point.
Also, keep your carbs.
Michigan Point, you're looking at there.
Reduce your carbs and your sugar. And to actually cause
So this is Michigan Point.
you have to realize that water follows sugar. Okay, so if there's more sugar,
This is Michigan Point, I'm saying there.
it's
So.
going to go up the
Oh, here is Southport Keys.
all of this causes insulin resistance.
It's Michigan Point.
Large protein meals. Be careful at night eating too much protein. It's just going to cause you to
So this is Michigan Point.
you have to pee really bad and only a little bit comes out.
This is Michigan Point.
What's going on? That's a
This is Michigan Point. So,
and liver sensitivity, you actually got
got a park here.
fluid.
You can see the tram. That's Michigan Point. That's the tram. There's a tram stop right in front of the building. It takes you straight
If you apply what I just
to all those co-op live events, Manchester United Stadium,
comment down below.
Manchester City Center Town Direct.
Before you click away, I want you to do this right.
So this is Michigan Point.
A one-page download that you can print out.
The Sainsbury at the bottom. This is that building there.
But it's very, very simple.
Behind that tree is MV building. That's where Chris Usase stays.
Cost. Now, put it on the refrigerator.
So Chimo used to stay there before he left. And this is Michigan Point. So what Usase does is just for him to walk from here, from that building to there. That's all he needs to do. Just cross the road. Is in Michigan Point. So let me